From Kenan Stadium in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, this is TarHeelIllustrated.com. I'm THI staff writer Jacob Turner, and joining me like he always does after a Carolina football or basketball game, our very own publisher, Andrew Jones. And Andrew, we saw the win over Western Carolina today, 49-9 on this very field. A little chilly out here, a little windy, so apologies if there's a little wind blowing in the audio right now, but just trying to get out of this cold soon, AJ. I've been out here shaking all day.
We had to take our credentials off because we'd flap it around. I'd be
feeling naked, man.
Mine would be smacking Jacob in the face right now.
I'm feeling naked right now, but AJ,
we don't want that.
We dang sure don't want that one. Carolina near perfection today, really. Pretty easy win for the Tar Heels, barring a few turnovers. Jay Schroeder had one. Toe Groves had one. A lot of the Jace came in the second half, and a lot of the reserves were in anyway. But overall, really good performance from Carolina today. Kind of what we expected to see. Western Carolina didn't put up much of a fight. This game was really over kind of in the first quarter, for being completely honest. But overall, good game from Carolina and a performance that I think they'll be happy with.
In judging them from a football perspective, just look at what they did when the regular rotation guys were on the field, and it was 42-3 at the half. They scored 6 of their 7 possessions in the first half.
Yep.
The one they didn't was the Toe Groves fumble, and they were moving toward the end zone. They would have scored had he not fumbled. Michael Carter was really good in the first half, scored 3 touchdowns. Daz Newsome got really involved in his last home game. I think he had 6 catches for 82 yards. He had a 15-yard run on one of those little backwards pass things. Those are technically runs. And defensively, Western had a 41-yard pass play to the tight end. They had a couple other chunks on the drive. They had a field goal, but otherwise they had 59 yards on 32 plays in the first half. So the defense got it done.
Did play well.
The offense got it done. Max said that this was exactly what they needed as far as having the right guy tune up. You got to get big game next week against Miami, which we're going to hit on in just a minute. But if you're going to come out here and play well. And they did play well. They didn't take Western lightly. They took care of business. And in fact, Max said that they were so dominant in the first half that for the first time in his 32-year coaching career, he was able to take all the guys out that he needed to take out at halftime, not have to worry about playing them in the second half. So imagine, even when he was here at Carolina, they had some top 10 teams. And when he was at Texas, he won a national title, played for a national title, had, I think, 6 or 7 straight 10 or 11 win teams at Texas. And they played games like this. He still put his starting quarterback out there to start the third quarter. Didn't do that here. Jacoby Criswell took the first snap of the third quarter for Carolina. They were that dominant. He was that sure that they had achieved everything they needed to with the regulars up to that point. So you really can't ask for more.
No, you really can't, AJ. The second thing I want to talk about, Michael Carter. I know you were texting about it late last week, and I remember you were asking me a couple questions about it, and you just started spilling out all these facts about Michael Carter, about what he's going to, I think, what is he now, 6 all-time in Carolina rushing? And I was like, wow, like, I mean, he's played since he was a freshman. He's had a really good career, but when you were kind of spilling, I'll let you kind of go through those stats and some of those accolades that he has and is working for right now. But good game from Michael Carter. He's been really solid this season for Carolina. Seems to get better and better week after week. But overall, I mean, he's just had a heck of a career here. And it's one that in some ways I think has kind of gone on under the radar for a lot of Carolina fans. But, I mean, when you just kind of listen some of the accolades that he's done, I mean, it's amazing what he's been able to accomplish.
Well, when you think about the team right now, people think about Sam. Everybody who follows college football knows who Sam is. Most now know who Chaz is. Chaz is one of the most amazing stories I've ever covered. Okay? And then you also think about Javonte, because he's had this huge season. He's made a big-time splash nationally the last 5 or 6 weeks. And kind of under the radar, like you said, has been Michael Carter. But, guys, he's 6th all-time in rushing in this program's history. And this program was once running back you.
Oh, yeah, it was.
I mean, they racked up 1,000-yard rushers in the 70s and 80s. Look it up if you don't know this history, because it's amazing. Because Bill Dooley, 3 yards in a cloud of dust, he had multiple 1,000-yard rushers a couple times. And then Dick Crum comes in, and they run the ball like crazy. And they had the Kelvin Bryants and Ethan Hortons and the end of the famous Amos Lawrence career. So the 5 guys in front of Michael Carter right now, you have famous Amos Lawrence, you've got Mike Voigt, you've got Leon Johnson, Kelvin Bryant, and Don McCauley. And people forget about McCauley, but in 1970, he set the single-season rushing record in college football. He broke O.J. Simpson's record from a couple years earlier. He's in the College Football Hall of Fame. That's a group of studs. And Michael Carter is now in that group, and he's going to climb a little more. He's got 3,096 yards rushing. He's going to go up a little bit more in the next, because they got a bowl game coming up after Miami. So he could get up to 4th all-time in rushing at a school that has produced a ton of 1,000-yard rushers. And also, he's close to getting 1,000 for the 2nd straight season. The only time that they've had a back do that Since Natron Means in 91 and 92 was Gio Bernard in 2011, 2012. Michael Carter deserves a lot of respect. He's had a hell of a career here, and it's not done yet.
No, and Mac's been so up. I don't know if I've ever seen a coach quite praise a player as much as Mac has.
About on and off the field.
Yeah, on and
stuff.
off the field stuff. So credit to Michael on what he's been able to do here. That's some pretty elite company that you just listed off. So last thing I want to touch on, though, AJ, easy win for Carolina overall. Mac said it in the post-game presser. I mean, just a lot more talented than Western Carolina is, better players. Carolina got what they wanted to get out. A lot of young guys got reps today. You had that on offense and on the defensive side of the ball. But overall, I think it was a good day for Carolina. Good win. A lot of those young guys to get out there and play as well. I mean, I think it's exactly what Mac was hoping for going into it.
And there are multiple positives that come out of this. Number one, 88 guys played.
It's a lot.
Everyone that dressed
played.
Mm-hmm. That's what they said. Everyone that dressed played. Okay, even Jefferson Boaz took some snaps at quarterback. They played 4 QBs. It's good to see Jace Ruder get out there. He had the fumble, but at least he got out there. This is his last home game here as well. But Mac said on Wednesday, when we talked to him after Wednesday's practice, he said it wasn't a very good week of practice. No. And we had talked in the postscript last week about the importance of preparing well. That when you want to become the program that they have stated as their mission, to be like Clemson, to be like Alabama, to be like Ohio State, you have to learn to consistently prepare like those teams. They prepare like champions all the time because it's all about internal stuff. It's all about getting better.
Yeah.
We're taking the field today in a practice. I don't care what the weather's like. We have to get better. Better. I don't care what the circumstances are like. We have to get better. Exams are going on. We have to get better. Well, they didn't do that Tuesday and Wednesday.
No.
But I asked Mac after the game today if they finished the week strong, and he said absolutely. And that's why you saw them come out and take care of business the way they did today. So they got a lot out of it. They were ready to play against a team that they knew was inferior to them. And that's just another little layer of this process of becoming what they think that they can become. You can't do it without this step. So you can have visions of Miami next week all you want, but Miami doesn't matter if you don't get better this week, you don't take care of things this week. And then when you do that, 88 guys play. When you do that, you get to see DJ Jones run a little bit. Remember the Mercer game a few years ago when Javonte Williams was a freshman? He had 48 yards on 10 carries going into that game. And in that game, he ran for 93 yards, scored a couple of touchdowns, and he broke out. Well, DJ Jones didn't quite do that today, but we saw him run. We saw some of what he had. Mac noted that after the game.
He looked good.
We saw a little bit of what Elijah Green could do when he churns the wheels. They're going to need another running back next year because Michael Carter's moving on. They might need 2 next year if Javonte chooses to go on. So they saw some really positive things from those kids. So this was a really, really good day for the program because so many good vibes, and good vibes are important. And they were able to cut the cord from Notre Dame, have this opportunity to feel really good, prepare well, get their minds right. Now they go to Miami next week.
Big game.
And if they win and Clemson beats Notre Dame in the ACC championship game and both Clemson and Notre Dame go to the playoff, Tar Heels may end up in the Orange Bowl. The last time they played in a major bowl game was Charlie Choo-Choo Justice's senior year.
Jeez.
So today was a really important part of the process. We throw that word out there all the time, guys, but this was absolutely important for that reason. It's why we wrote about it this week. That's why we talked about it, and that's why we're talking about it right now. And when you read our site on TarHeelIllustrated.com, you'll see that we're writing about it because as much as you love touchdowns and blocked field goals and tackles and sacks and stuff, this is all part of what makes that happen.
Absolutely.
And they achieved that this week and this weekend.
They did. Easy win for Carolina today, 49-9 over Western Carolina on Senior Day here in Chapel Hill. That's going to do it for us. As always, guys, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to like it, be sure to share it, and also be sure to check out TarHeelIllustrated.com for all our post-game coverage from today's victory. Thanks, guys.